In this video, we are going to learn about hard-coded authentication. Okay, so we will be learning what this hard-coded authentication is all about. In the previous two videos, we have already seen the concept of HTTP authentication concepts and how to implement authentication in PHP using the two authentication variables. Okay, so let's now learn hard-coded authentication. The simplest way to restrict resource access is by hard coding the username and password directly into the script. Up till now, what we were doing is we were just restricting the user. Okay, we were restricting the access to any web page. Okay, and we were asking for the username and password. So if a user is authenticated, he can enter his or her username and can access the resource. But what I can do is hard coding means I can simply specify the username and password directly into the script. So whenever we specify these values, okay, the username, password, and all such data directly into the code, it is called hard coded authentication because here the values are hard coded. We have directly specified in the script. So what I'm doing if the dollar underscore server and this stores the username. So if it is not equal to client or if the password is not equal to secret means what I'm saying is the username and password must be client and secret. If they are not equal to client and secret, we will just pop up the window again and again. So I'm just saying this. Okay, and there will be a point where it will say you must provide the proper credentials means basically we will keep showing that same pop-up window again and again to the user until it gives out a proper value for the username and password. Okay, so we will just see. So what will happen is, let's say if I give the proper value, if I give username as client and password as secret, then else block will be exit. Okay, so I haven't written any else block, but when we will code at that time I will just write an else block to clear your understanding. Okay, but just understand hard coded means we are directly specifying the username and password in the script only. Okay, so in this case all the users, okay, will have to use the same username and password. Up till now we were authenticating each and every user means each user will have a different username and password, but here everybody will have to use the same username and password. Let's see more. In the above example, if these two variables are equal to client and server, the code block will not execute and anything other than that block will execute. So if block will not be executed, else block will be executed if we give the proper values. Let's say if we give out the username as client and password as secret, so that means the else block will be executed. Otherwise the user is prompted for the username and password until the proper information is not provided or a 401 unauthorized message is displayed due to multiple authentication failures. So if we keep giving out wrong username and password, so it will just give out a message due to multiple authentication failures. Although authentication against hard coded values means the values which we directly specify in the code, is very quick and easy to configure. It has several drawbacks. See, it is very quick and easy to configure, but it has several drawbacks. Foremost, all users requiring access to that resource must use the same authentication pair. So each and every user that want the access to that resource will have to use the same authentication pair, same username and password. In most real world situations, each user must be uniquely identified so that user specific preferences or resources can be provided. So we have just learned about this. If every user is identified uniquely, so then we can implement user specific preferences or resources can be provided. But if we keep the same username and password for everyone, we cannot achieve this. Changing the username and password can be done only by entering the code and making manual adjustment. Okay. So these are some of the advantages and some of the disadvantages. Advantages are it is very quick and easy to configure, but the disadvantages are here each user is not uniquely identified. So user specific preferences and resources cannot be provided. Okay. So this is about hard-coded authentication. Now let's go to our IDE and execute this code. So let's write the code. I'll just say PHP, and here I will just write if dollar underscore server PHP auth underscore user is not equal to client or is not equal to secret. So basically, I'm just saying here only, I'm mentioning here that the username must be client and password must be secret. But if it is not, then I will just pop up that window again and again. www Authenticate basic. Then header http slash 1.1.401, and I'll just say unauthorized. But if the credentials are correct, if username is client and password is secret, then I will just say else. I'll just say echo username and password are correct. That's all. Okay. So everything seems perfect. Now we will just go to our browser and run this. So I'll just go to that path localhost slash programming slash name of our file is first dot ph. Okay, so it has popped up a window. Now we will just give out a wrong username and password. Let's try for wrong username and password. I will just say Kevin and Kevin. Actually, it should be client and secret, but I'm just giving wrong username and password. So when I click on sign in, again this box will appear. This will keep appearing until I give out the correct username and password. Let's say if I'm giving here client, but I'm giving a wrong password. Let's say I am giving Kevin. See, it will keep giving us this window. So now let's enter the correct values. I'll just say client and here I will say secret. Okay, now it will run. Now it will say username and password are correct. Okay. So this is how hard-coded authentication works. We are basically specifying the username and password in the code itself, in the script only. Okay. But there are its drawbacks, its limitations, its advantages, its disadvantages. Okay. So you have to make a decision what to use and what not. So this is all about hard-coded authentication in PHP. Thank you.